On a beautiful night for lacrosse, it's time for the Section 7 Boys Lacrosse Section Semifinal here at Spring Lake Park High School. Bill Hupp alongside my broadcast partner John Haddon, and it's Blaine and Duluth doing battle for the third consecutive season in the section semifinals. The winner tonight to take on number 4 seed Chisago Lakes, who won in an upset earlier today. As you can see, 12-11 in overtime over the top seed Centennial, who's been bossing this section in recent years. But tonight, Blaine and Duluth do battle again in the section semifinals, John, and it should be a good one.
Absolutely. Rough day for our Cougar friends all around. The girls lost 16-14 in their playoff matchup earlier this afternoon, but we get another opportunity to see Blaine, who has had some postseason magic here on North Metro TV in the past.
Duluth wins the opening draw, and the Wolfpack go to work. Bounce shot, that goes wide. Wolfpack closest to it. Duluth comes in the third seed in the section, 11-3 record on the season. An independent, a combination of Duluth East High School and Duluth Denfield.
They wasted no time running right up, getting a shot away, and good job of getting to the backside as well. Make sure they maintain possession.
Blaine switching defensively as we are underway. Good high catch by Hayden Clore, the midfielder. Now he gets it back in the stick of number 13, Tyler Smith, who really makes this team go, leads them in both goals and assists. Clore, watched by the long sticks, fed in front, it's loose. Goalie's closest to it, good hustle by Noah Hitchcock, the senior goaltender for the Bengals. 9-3 on the season, a 7.08 goals against average and a .580 save percentage. Early turnover here for the Bengals. Opportunity for Duluth, bounce shot, that goes wide.
That was a really dangerous play. Cody Foster didn't realize it had fallen out of the pocket. He starts moving upfield with that long stick, but it's empty, leaving it right on the doorstep for Duluth to pick it up and attack Hitchcock once again.
There's another shot that's bounced wide. Colby Larson closest to it, number 19. Duluth gets most of its point scoring from its attack, including Larson, 22 goals and 13 assists on the season. He'll re-enter things for the Wolfpack. It's been all Wolfpack possession in the early going as Sam Mertz works it around. Behind at X, fed to Larson, he tried to shovel it forward. It's loose on the deck. Good recovery though by the Wolfpack as Mertz settles things. Larson at X, watched by Bowden Parent. Very senior heavy defense as Parent strips and then rakes it beautifully to Noah Hitchcock in the crease.
Hitchcock.
Sorry, John.
Well, he's just not afraid to handle the ball, right? I mean, he dekes out of one of the players coming on to try and knock the ball away, then he moves it upfield very comfortably.
Duluth turns it over quickly. They'll go back through their netminder, Connor Kiergaard. Now it's loose in the middle of the field. Battle for possession.
All long sticks fighting for that one.
Yep, all long pulls. Whacked at, it's the Panthers head logo, and the Wolfpack control, momentarily anyway. Every inch of turf being contested in this section semifinal between these two teams. As we noted, they met in 2018, Duluth East winning that one. And then in 2019, Blaine got the better of the Wolfpack. And then last year, of course, the tournament canceled because of COVID. 9:32 to go first quarter, still scoreless between Duluth and Blaine. This program at Duluth, a combination of Duluth East and Duluth Denfield. Duluth East, 38 kids on the varsity and JV, Denfield contributing 3. It's largely Duluth East. A lot of kids obviously with hockey experience as well.
I was going to say, it's not a surprise. The strength of the athletic programs at Duluth East are well known in that region and around the state, really, with how many appearances the Greyhounds have made at different state tournaments.
Great hockey tradition. Tyler Smith on the attack, tries to feed Larson in front. That pass is errant, so it turns it over to the Bengals. Now Blaine just trying to get a good clearance and some sustained offensive possession.
I was going to say something of anything, because all they've been able to do right now is showcase their defense, which has done pretty good work thus far to keep us scoreless, but they're going to need to be able to produce something on offense.
Bowden Parent crossfield for Franco Cannavaro. one of several Blaine hockey players on this team. Canavari loses his footing and loses the ball. Back come the Wolfpack, and they get it in the stick of Larson. Back behind X to Caleb Kennan. Kennan, 24 goals and 9 assists on the season. His shot, hard deflection off of Dominic Romo, another senior long stick.
You know, it's not as often that we talk about this in lacrosse, but these defenders are going to need a breather at some point, right? I mean, we've basically had Blaine on their heels this entire time, and in this weather, substitutions are going to help, but you want your best guys on the field in a semifinal matchup. So it's up to that offense to get it and hold it for some time, even if they don't get a good score up.
Smith with an errant jump shot there, but again, Larson closest to it for the Wolfpack. But you're absolutely right. On this hot, humid, muggy night, how will the team's depth be tested for both teams, really?
Luckily, there's some cloud cover right now, but the heat is still out there. You and I are dripping sweat, and we're just standing here.
Yep, again, it hits Perrin out in front. Hitchcock able to rake it to himself in the crease. Now the Bengals just trying to, again, get it into the box and then get some sort of sustained possession. The 10-man ride for Duluth has been really effective so far. Blaine does not look comfortable in their clearance. Bengals through midfield. Not as much of a pressure, but they, offside the call, so miscommunication by the Bengals. And
I mean, you look at these 3 turnovers that they've had. One, a rough pass, and that's going to happen from time to time, but then a guy falls over and then an offsides. I mean, this has really been unfortunate for the offense.
Yeah, just kind of maybe nerves, some early sloppiness, as it's now in the stick of Zach Crone, the senior attackman, who leads the team with 24 assists, will settle things down and wait for reinforcements like Anders Scheibe from the box. Good spacing from the Bengals as they'll continue to cycle in players on the fly. 7 minutes remaining first quarter. In the stick of Jonah Conrad, senior midfielder, 12 points on the season. He draws the slide and quickly reverses course. Scheibe again turns aside.
Scheibe is so active for that offense. He just seems to be everywhere.
Devin Nitty, this is the second line midfield unit for Blaine out there right now. Again losing his footing. Ty Bunes shoots and it hits a Duluth defender behind the goal, but it would have missed anyway. Bunes, the leading goal scorer for this Blaine team with 40 on the season.
Not the first time that Blaine has played on turf. Their home field is grass, but it feels like it with the way the guys have been slipping down to the field repeatedly here in the opening quarter.
Yeah, great observation, John. It's not necessarily a surface that they are accustomed to playing on a regular basis. They are getting turf installed at that home stadium, but that's the reason that we're playing this game at Spring Lake Park here tonight.
And lacrosse is one of the reasons that they probably are thinking about turf. You get that much extra action in the spring, and instead of allowing the grass time to come back for the football that's going to happen in the fall.
Pass fake by Bunis. He draws the slide, tries to hit someone on the doorstep, but nobody was home.
It was Scheibe in front he was looking for. Could not connect, though.
So Duluth able to clear. Larson gets it to Smith. Smith watched by Romo. Instead he hits a cutter, and Duluth scores! Sam Mertz off the bench. Great find from Tyler Smith. And Duluth strikes first midway through this first quarter.
And they've been trying to hit guys in stride throughout this opening quarter. And that time they find Mertz perfectly on the move, and he does a good job adjusting in a tight space to get a clean shot away and beat what has been so far a very strong Hitchcock in net.
The switch of the hands, great catch by Mertz, and then he just goes low and hard to the left. With 5:40 left in the first quarter, it's 1-0 Wolfpack. And a deserved lead, I would say, early on, John.
Oh, absolutely.
With how the Wolfpack have played at the start.
I mean, for that entire time, you just kept thinking Blaine should feel lucky to be in a tie game still because all the pressure has come from Duluth.
Important face-offs here after these goals because Nick Kanashevitz, the senior Fogo, as Blaine gets it in deep, but then knocked free, and now the Wolfpack swarm. It's loose on the deck, trying to sort it out. Eli Zahn manages to get it to his goaltender. But what I was saying is Hanashevitz is a nearly 75% face-off winner this year, going to William Penn in Iowa next year. Just the ideal body type for a face-off guy, and they need to win possession and not have this become make it, take it. From behind, good save by Hitchcock.
And he did get the win in that last time, so he's 1 for 2 in the face-off so far.
Parent a little more decisive with the clear, going cross-field for Mike Felty. And now Blaine trying to make sure they stay onside this time.
Really careful.
4:27 and counting left to go in the first. Duluth with a 1-goal lead. And even though both teams come in averaging nearly 15 goals a game, or right about that, wouldn't be surprised to see it be a defensive tussle given the amount of experience on both of these rosters.
Well, we talk about this all the time, and it doesn't matter the sport. Sometimes you watch teams that are good and they get to this level and they have high-scoring games or they win by large margins all the time, and that's because their defense is turning into offense. When you get to this upper level, you start getting into the section semis and championships in state, suddenly everyone's pretty good, and your defense is there, and that's what ends up looking like it's dominating. No one's going to be able to score a ton of points against a really good defensive team.
Right. Maybe that's why they say defense wins championships.
It's hard to notice when a team's putting up 15, 18 goals in a win, but when you get to these games, that's when it shines.
Out of the stick of Bunis, good recovery though. His brother Caden is also out there with the light blue stick. Ty Bunis gets a step, turns over, and scores with a left-hand jump shot. Ty Bunis ties this game at 1 for Blaine. Unassisted goal with 3:22 left in the first quarter.
Yeah, you said it, unassisted. What a great individual effort this time to put the move on, right? Burst of speed, get to the front, hard stop, turn, and fire with the left side. Great attack there to even us up and just kind of going down near the ankles.
That's just a savvy veteran move. He knew exactly what he was going to do. It's called a question mark dodge from the X, and he executed it perfectly to tie this game at 1. And right off the back, Hanashevitz wins it, so this is where it could become make it, take it for Blaine if they're able to take care of the ball on the offensive end. Hanashevitz, and a really thick, stout senior, able to, very good with ground balls. Of course, as I say that, Duluth wins it back, and then Ty Bunis scoops it up for Blaine. Bit of a pass fake, and then he overshot his intended target, so it's going to belong to the Wolfpack anyway.
Blaine, I can understand wanting to get something real quick right after that. I would just like to see more of what they did to earn that first goal. Be strong with the ball, create an opportunity, and take your time in doing it.
Yeah, no question about it. Patience with the ball. And obviously it's much like basketball. When you make a team defend that long, you increase the likelihood of a mistake eventually. Blaine ball in the stick of Ty Bunis, and the more he has the ball, the better things are likely to be for Blaine. Canavari jogs it and gets a touch in the box. Sun continues to beat down here as it sets here at Panther Stadium on the campus of Spring Lake Park High School.
Olsen really wants that ball just kind of set up out front. I mean, that's his spot. He's looking for that pass.
Great pass to Caden Bunis, and he scores! Caden Bunis, the sophomore, a tough catch in traffic, and then a beautiful finish all in one motion with the left hand.
That's a tough ball to track as a defender because they had 2 attackers coming in. Bunis was the backside man. He gets the ball and has a little coverage because of the man out in front.
Now they misidentified the goal scorer. That's Caleb Bunis, not Ty Bunis. But
yeah, Caden got that for sure. Following in behind on that attack.
The Bunis brothers. But yeah, and you talk about sending multiple people to the same area. A lot of wheel plays work, and once again, Hanashevitz, after losing the first draw, the opening draw, he's won the last 3. And Blaine gets a touch as they lead it 2-1 with 1:41 left to go in the first. Bengals go back to work. They draw the slide, tough pass in traffic. It finds its way to Scheibe's stick. Loose on the deck in front, and good recovery by the Duluth defense, and now they'll try to clear it. Just out of the reach, and Caden Bunis shovels it, but only as far as Lars Berg. Potential transition chance for Duluth. Smith for Berg, who steps into one. He goes low to high, but Hitchcock saw it all the way. Makes the comfortable save at the top of his crease. Less than a minute to go in the first.
That's kind of a slow-moving shot attempt. Plenty of time for Hitchcock to read it.
In and out of the stick of Caleb Kennan as he tried to get his 25th goal. Both teams just looking for a foothold in possession in the midfield.
Threw it right off his teammate's mask. Blaine having some trouble with their passing.
Smith steps into one, and he fizzes it high. Wolfpack closest to it with 29 seconds left. Caleb Kennan steps into one, and he fires that wide.
Be big for Blaine to hold on for these final seconds with the slow start that they had on their heels defensively for so long, giving up the first goal. If they could go in to that quick break at the quarter end with a lead, it's got to be a good feeling.
Bengals have switched to a zone defensively in the stick of Tyler Smith. Smith turning the corner, trying to get free. That shot actually deflects off the stick of Cody Foster as time expires. An entertaining first quarter. Blaine, after giving up the first goal, responds with two from the Bunis brothers, and they lead it 2-1 after one here on North Metro TV. Our score here in the Section 7 semifinals after one period of play. Ty Bunis and his brother Caden, the goal scorers in that first period, and just a couple minutes apart, John.
And not a surprise either, because those guys have been able to put up scores throughout the course of the year. Now, certainly Ty has done the bulk of it, but both guys have been able to vary it when given the chance, and really nice bounce back is the way we look at it because of the slow start that Blaine had, unable to win the first face-off, unable to maintain possession on many of the chances they got early, and so they were just playing defense for the first 6 minutes or so, and then in the second half of that first quarter, they flipped the script. Long ways to go, though, in this game.
Two teams will switch sides. Nick Henishevitz to take the face against the captain for the Wolfpack team, Dane Calloway. Ty Bunis, goal number 41 on the season in that first quarter. Bound for Division II Belmont Abbey in North Carolina. North Carolina, a hotbed of D2 lacrosse, including the runners-up this year, Lenore Rhine, which is about 20 miles outshot of Charlotte. Henishevitz pops it to himself, wins the draw cleanly, and possession for Blaine. Bengals go to work, high pass corralled by Zach Crone. Crone, as we said, 44 points coming into this season. Blaine, much like Duluth, getting the majority of its scoring punch from its attack in the form of Sam Olsen and Zach Crone and Ty Bunis. Scheibe gives it to number 2, Devin Nettie. His pass deflected. Got to be sharp with the passes tonight for both teams. Duluth doing a good job of pressing out high, and they forced the turnover, and now the Wolfpack are in transition.
Great feet ahead. Not that one, the one before.
Yes. I knew what you meant, as that one was errant from Lars Berg, and got to take care of the ball. And in fact, talking to Coach Scott Wishart before the game, he talked about how important clearances would be, playing smart and taking care of the ball. And certainly they didn't do it right there.
It's funny you mentioned that North Carolina is a hotbed for D2 lacrosse. It's just interesting what parts of the country end up being hotbeds for different Division II sports. Minnesota, a volleyball hotbed thanks to Concordia St. Paul and their great success over the last decade or so. Before NDSU and SDSU made their jump to Division I along with the other two schools in North and South Dakota, those areas were huge basketball areas and football.
Well, Minnesota and the Dakotas are hotbeds for lacrosse, but a very unique kind of lacrosse. Division II club lacrosse, interestingly enough. UMD is a powerhouse. NDSU, Minnesota, they've all won, and St. Thomas especially, they've all won national titles recently, because club lacrosse is split into 2 divisions, and so you've got the bigger schools that play Division I, and then there's sort of a Division II, or Division B as it's known. And that is where the Dakotas and Minnesota really shine. So very niche, but yeah, you're right. It is interesting where what areas pop up as really strong in particular sports. In the possession of number 27, Caleb Kennan for the Wolfpack. He gets it to Peyton Bradbury at the midfield.
One of the underrated aspects of that is Minnesota's education system. One of the reasons that Minnesota does well in a number of sports with recruits is because they can count on the athletes to be student first once they recruit them. I know the Ivies go after football players in Minnesota pretty heavily.
Yeah, no question about it. Bengals manage to scoop it up on the far side. Good check to knock it free. Hayden Clore trying to get over there in time. Spinning away from pressure is Henishevitz. Passes on the doorstep. Great save. Absolute stone job by Connor Kiergaard. Now we've got a whistle and a stoppage of play as a flag is down in the box. So first penalty of the game coming up. And it is indeed a penalty on Lars Berg, but look at the great save by Kiergaard on the doorstep to deny Sam Olsen.
Olsen had the quick hands that time. I thought he was going to make something happen. There just wasn't a lot of room, and it felt like the goaltender stepping forward to cut down on angles helped out.
Yeah, that's what we call in lacrosse a stone job, as you do cut down the angle exactly by stepping up to the top of the crease to make the save. So now an EMO for the Bengals. Oh, good stick in the passing lane by, I believe that is Berg. Lars Berg, the big midfielder, into the offensive zone. Gets a shot off, and he scores! A shorthanded goal for Duluth ties this game at 2.
I mean, there was no doubt he was taking that shot. Carried it all the way up. Wasn't looking for another option and wasn't really challenged enough by Blaine once he got near the goal. So, great opportunity, and he capitalizes.
Yep. Not enough. The slide didn't come quickly enough, and he was able to get his hands free and kind of sidearm it in. But he also made the play on the extra man opportunity to get his stick in the passing lane. Now he's catching a breath as he took that from end to end and finished for the Wolfpack.
And that's another reason to go quick, right? You're not going to probably be able to set up a strong offense when you're down a man. So if you've got some kind of momentum advantage, use that, and he did.
Yeah, no question about it. You've got to be able to score in transition, because what the opposing team will do as soon as you get a touch and settle it in and try to kill time is they'll just double the ball, and more often than not take it away from you. Hold called on Henishevitz, so it's Wolfpack ball, and now this is where you're going to see, you would think, Blaine double the ball. Penalty soon to be released. John Butler, the one on the knee, the long stick midi bound for North Central in Naperville, a Division III powerhouse who lost in the finals of their conference championship this year to a very good Illinois Wesleyan team. Now the Wolfpack controlling things with Colby Larson. In the stick of Tyler Smith, very dangerous player, and certainly Blaine paying attention to him. Kennan, the left-hand cradle. Watched by big Mike Felty. Gets a step on Felty, loses the ball. But Duluth able to recover with number 6, Zach Burns. That shot saved comfortably by Hitchcock. And now Blaine will try to clear.
That had some speed behind it, too. Great reaction by Hitchcock to make it look easy.
Hitchcock plays defense for the Bengals hockey team. He, Joe Penner, Canavari, and Bunis, all Bengals hockey players as Duluth forces a turnover. Now they'll try to clear with Finn Yates scooping it up, goal line extended. Duluth in the maroon and gray. Blaine obviously in the light blue and white. Good little give and go, hands free, and that hits the crossbar and bounds high and out of bounds. That had some sizzle on it as well from Gavin Slattery.
Keep rotating guys in and out. I mean, again, it's a section semifinal, but I think the coaches are going a little deeper than they might otherwise because of the heat that we have here today.
Yeah, the substitution patterns will be key. There's a shot ripped hard and wide. 6:33 to go before half. Duluth and Blaine tied at 2. The winner here will face number 4 Chisago Lakes in the final.
What a surprise that Chisago Lakes made that upset happen earlier today over Centennial.
They've had a great season, and they are fast and physical. They've had one loss this season, the only team to beat them, Duluth. 8-7 up in Duluth. Great pass and a great find on the doorstep. Caleb Kennan gives Duluth the lead. What a find from Sam Mertz up top.
You don't always have to do a lot with the ball. If you know where you are, you know where the goal is, you can make it look easy, and that's what it is. He receives this ball, and then he just kind of rolls it in. It's not a lot on there. It's just a little flick down low to beat the goaltender, who doesn't have time to react at that close range.
What happened there, too, is Blaine got caught ball watching, and Kennan was able to slip around from X, make himself available, and a great find by Mertz to keep his head up. So, big face-off here. Blaine and Heneshevitz, and they're able to win it. So now the Bengals will go to work and haven't had much offensive possession here in the second quarter. And again, big physical check from Duluth forces a turnover. Smith, goal line extended. Tyler Smith, jump shot, scores! Tyler Smith, goal number 42. No, beg your pardon. They're going to say that's Caleb Kennan.
That was Kennan again, yeah.
Beg your pardon. Kennan makes it 3 straight for Duluth.
Now, was that Smith on the assist? Because
lead.
he started that with a great grab.
I believe it was, but that's an unassisted goal to Caleb Kennan, who just uses the jump shot. Ultimately, Bowden Parent didn't get out there fast enough, and Duluth has scored 3 unanswered to take a 2-goal lead with 5:47 left in the second.
And with how tight this thing has been, that is the largest lead so far. We've been trading goals almost this entire way.
They get it back. Dane Calloway re-enters play after the false start on Heneshevitz, and Duluth, owners of all the momentum right now. Larson to Kennan. Oh, great catch out there by Smith.
He thinks his teammates can do the same thing he does. That pass wasn't quite where he intended it.
Larson again goes behind for Kennan, who's had a great second quarter. He gives it for Smith. And you notice how Blaine not pushing out nearly as high. They're much more compact defensively in that zone. Smith rips the back of the net. 5-2 Duluth. And that's the problem with playing in that zone and playing off. You allow Smith and a goal scorer like him to get his arms free, and he just ripped the back of the net. He's got a goal and an assist in this first half. Duluth has scored 4 unanswered.
Well, and it's not that's new, the tightness of the defense for Blaine. They've really been doing that all game long from that first 6 minutes we keep talking about that started the slow progression for Blaine to get on the board. And we're seeing it here in the second quarter as well. They continue to draw in. If Duluth can consistently hit from the outside, just keep firing away.
Tyler Smith, a great accurate shot. Not much that Noah Hitchcock could do on that one. Bengals able to win possession here, and they take a timeout to retain possession. We'll take a quick timeout as well. 4:56 remaining before half. Duluth up 5-2 on Blaine here in the Section 7 semifinals. So we're actually going to keep it here, and yeah, it's a funny thing, John, momentum in lacrosse, because you can just win the face-off and continue to pile up the goals, and lacrosse, you know, much like basketball, it really is a game of runs, and you rarely, if you see two teams that are evenly matched, you know at some point that the other team is going to have a run. You just hope to be able to stem that run when it comes.
Bengals, I mentioned during our pregame, some of their success under Coach Josh Schwartz. I got to see them win the section championship back in 2015, finally getting over the hump that was Champlin Park after years of falling to the Rebels. Things haven't carried at that high a level since, but they're always a factor in the section tournament. And they've got a great opportunity. Both these two teams do, it feels like, with Centennial being knocked off, because that was a tough team for them to match up with.
Yeah, that was the top seed, and certainly a team that had been ranked all season long in the top 10. Mm-hmm. The favorite for this to come out of Section 7 for the fourth straight year, but with them out of the way, certainly Duluth has already beaten Chisago Lakes once this year. Both teams, knowing the result coming in, probably gives this game maybe a bit of extra urgency, knowing that you can host a section final if you win. Out of the timeout after Blaine called to retain possession. It'll be in the stick of Devin Nettie. Devin Nitty, 5 goals and no assists on the season. The junior midfielder will restart things for the Bengals. Under 5 minutes left in the second quarter. It was 2-1 Bengals at the end of one, but the Bengals have been shut out, and Duluth has scored 4 in this second quarter. Bengals go to work on the offensive end, backed out by Scheibe. Gives it for Olsen, now back in the stick of Scheibe. Watched by Lars Berg. The short stick, great check by Berg, and Duluth comes away with it. Wolfpack in the open field, gets it into the stick of Tyler Smith. Smith for Kennan on the doorstep. And now Larson will back it out and wait for reinforcements from the box. Good move by Hayden Clore. Smith, Kennan, tight angle jump shot. I believe that hit the post.
I think that hit the goaltender, Hitchcock, pretty square.
Good save by Hitchcock then. Loose ball still not controlled by anybody. Duluth has felt like the more physical team in this one so far, John.
Well, I'd agree with that. That might be part of the reason that they've forced as many turnovers as they have.
What a catch by Caden Bunis. There's a low angle shot and they score! And who else but their main man, Ty Bunis. Goal number 42 on the season after a great catch in transition by his sophomore brother.
You know, they both had great catches on that play, but you'll get another look at it here because Ty was in some tight quarters when he receives this ball. Surrounded by 3 guys, one hits into him as he makes the catch, and he's able to spin off, get a good shot away, and beat the goaltender.
Assist number 5 on the season for Caden, and goal number 42 for Ty. You can see why he's got a full ride to a Division II school. He's putting on a good display, and big players have to step up in these kind of games.
And those kinds of situations, right? You mentioned it, 4 straight goals have been scored by Duluth, Now the Wolfpack seeing that Blaine hasn't packed it in to this point.
Oh, Larson on the doorstep. Pass was behind him. Coming out of the box to scoop it up is Bradbury. Smith steps into one again. Not much on that one. In fact, I think it may have hit somebody, but
Looked like it got deflected.
because it's a shot, Larson will re-enter play for Duluth. Larson steps into one, or rather Kennan steps into one, and his shot goes wide.
We talked about it a bit ago. If they can hit from outside, then keep doing it. Now they're continuing to shoot that shot from outside, and sometimes from a little bit of a rough angle. It hasn't gone.
Colby Larson tried to feed in front. Good catch in traffic. Back in the stick of Larson. Kennan. Watched by Parent. Bradbury. Smith thought about it. He's got the short stick out there. Blaine still in the zone. Here's a shot, and that hits a Bengal on the way through. But Blaine really packed in with this zone defense right now and really just letting Duluth fire at will.
But we're seeing more deflections because of that tightness. It seems like Hitchcock still has good visibility.
Larson gives it back behind him for Clore. Duluth does not look, they look so poised offensively. Larson jump shot. I believe that was ticked as he shot it, and in fact, good hustle by Hitchcock. Ball goes back to Blaine.
I was thinking the same thing. Great play by Hitchcock. Awareness of that guy alongside the net with him. So once that sailed, he was off to the races.
I love the random interspersal of charge in this game from the press box. Bengals get a touch, and now they'll back it out and try to get a similar kind of sustained possession. I would say Duluth has probably had the more productive offensive possessions tonight. But Blaine, 2 goals is nothing as a lead in lacrosse. So this one feels like it'll go down to the wire between these two teams meeting in the section semifinal for the 3rd consecutive season that there's been one.
I love that asterisk that you throw on. It's absolutely accurate. It's just such a, everything was weird last year, obviously. Things aren't entirely done being weird, but it's great that these guys are able to get out and play this game this year and have a section championship to fight for.
Berg gets it into the offensive zone. He's a big midfielder.
He'd already carried it up once and charged in for a goal. This time, peels away.
Larson has a step on Parent. Smith catches, gathers, bounce shot going away from him. A good kick save by Hitchcock. Out of play, still in possession of Duluth, who's closest to it. 33 seconds left in the half, a 5-3 Wolfpack lead. So they'll obviously play for one shot, to use a basketball parlance.
There's so many similarities between the two sports.
Yeah, we haven't seen many picks set tonight, but that's obviously a feature of lacrosse.
Well, I was going to ask you, when Blaine took the timeout, would they have a play drawn up?
Yeah, very often you do see a quick hitter out of a timeout to get a goal, especially if you're trailing. Oh, beautiful move in front, and Bradbury couldn't finish. Duluth retains possession with just 5 seconds left to play.
Good poke.
Yep, Bradbury loses it as time expires here in the first half. An entertaining first half of lacrosse here at Spring Lake Park High School. Bengals have some work to do. They trail Duluth 5-3 here in the Section 7 semifinals as we head to the halftime break. You're watching high school boys lacrosse on North Metro TV. Back here getting ready to start the 3rd quarter at Spring Lake Park High School. Duluth with a 2-goal lead on the Blaine Bengals. What was an entertaining back and forth first half. Duluth started the scoring, a beautiful little give and go to open things up in the first quarter, but thanks to the Bunas brothers, Blaine would respond. And jump shot by Ty, and then a great tough catch in traffic and a great finish by Caden Bunis to make it 2-1 at the end of one. But Duluth would respond, led by Caleb Kennan, who scored 2 goals in a 4-goal run to make it 5-2. Great passing and a hard shot by Tyler Smith. And it's 5-3 as we start things here in the third quarter. Of course, Blaine would respond with another goal from Ty Bunis, his 42nd of the season. And now in net for Blaine is freshman Rylan Dickinson, who Coach Josh Swart is very excited about. He's playing here in the second half. So no goalie controversy, just a really talented freshman in net for Blaine in the second half as we start things.
Which is saying something, because Hitchcock played a very strong first half, I thought. I mean, he wasn't immune to the efforts of Duluth, but he made some good saves, was present, aware, speeding back to make sure that they get possession a couple of times.
Sam Mertz backs it out, gives it near side, ball's on the deck. Mertz recovers. Mertz steps up and fires it wide. Wolfpack closest to it. There is a penalty flag down. And so it's a 1-minute penalty. Can't tell if that's on Duluth or on Blaine. Believe it is on Blaine, indeed. Yep, Jonah Conrad. 1-minute slash penalty on Jonah Conrad for the Bengals, and so Duluth will have their first EMO of the afternoon. Blaine had one in the first half and ended up giving a shorthanded goal up in the second quarter. So both teams did a pretty good job of staying out of the penalty box. Now the Wolfpack will work it around against this 5-man zonal setup from Blaine. Goal line extended for Larson. Kennan at the top with 2 goals in the first half. Good pressure by the Bengals, just trying to prevent good opportunities. Clore gives it to Smith, who goes high. Actually, that was a shot by Gavin Slattery, and Dickinson tested early.
And he passes with flying colors. Great job getting in front of that, controlling the ball as well after the save.
Bengals get a touch, and now they go to work.
It's not impossible, but it might be a good idea for them to rely on more than just one family to get their goals here in the second half.
Yes, as good as the Bunis family is at Lacrosse, that would be a good idea. Penalty has been released, so we're back to even strength as Blaine tries to cut into this 2-goal deficit. In the stick of number 23, Zach Crone, who senior attackman held in check in the first half. He gets a shot off, and closest to it, Olsen. Again, Blaine losing its footing. Goal line extended, tight angle shot, and Ty Bunis somehow sneaks it past the goaltender, Connor Kiergaard.
Ty's determined to prove me wrong. They can do it with just the 2, apparently. Getting the goals, I mean, that's a big one. Pulls them back within 1. It was not an easy shot. You mentioned it. Tight angle there coming from behind the net. But he is able to get back on the board.
Assisted by Sam Olsen. But a beautiful tight angle shot from Ty Bunis at goal line extended. Cuts the deficit to just a single goal for Bunis. He's got a hat trick now, his 43rd of the season. Assisted by Sam Olsen with 9:10 left to go in the third.
This may be nothing, but Blaine took a really long time to get their goals in the first quarter and in the second quarter. To see them draw first blood here in the third could be a good sign.
And Shevitz wins the draw for the Bengals. Now we'll see. Now it's tough with the face-off stick, but you got to deliver a better pass there. Bengals able to retain possession, though. And obviously you want your face-off lines to get out and your midfield attacking lines to get on. Guys like Franco Cannavaro joining the fray. Here's a step and a shot. Great save by Kiergaard to deny number 27, Noah Bethel.
Got that stick down there. Almost looked like he stabbed it out of the air. Good work.
Still in the possession of the Bengals, though, as Bethel backs it out. Gives it near side for Crone. Olsen goes to work. Swim dodge in front. Great save, and they're going to call a ward, and that's justifiable. Olsen, a big lumbering attackman, using that physicality. That swim dodge can be effective as long as you don't use the opposite arm to clear space. Wolfpack have it now in possession. Gavin Slattery, who had a quiet first half, gets it up top for Bradbury. Kennan. Slattery comes off his stick funny, and it deflects off of Foster and out of play on the near side. Still will remain down on this end with the maroon and gray.
One of the challenges that continues to increase for the new goaltender, Dickinson, is the setting of the sun. I mean, he's almost out of it, but it is still right at his eyes.
Yeah, that's got to be tough.
You know, I would think as the Wolfpack maybe take advantage of that. More shots from what would be the near side for us and our viewers.
Ball's loose on the deck after they tried to feed it in front. And Dickinson comes away with it.
That one was bouncing wide, but he had the presence of mind to grab hold of it.
Dickinson showing off a bit of athleticism to get away from Kennan. But Blaine took their time too much in the first half to get the clearance. Now they've got it in transition.
Good speed by Conrad to get around the defense initially and set up some position.
Olsen will invert and go to that more midfield position. And he gets it behind to Bunis. Bunis fakes the pass. Instead, he shoots and scores! Ty Bunis, goal number 4, ties this game at 5.
If it ain't broke, just keep going back to him.
What was it you said, John, about the Bunis family? They can't carry.
I didn't say they couldn't. I said it might be a good idea. You know, if I'm Duluth right now, I'm keying in on number 12 all the time as much as possible. They're still giving him enough space to work with, and he's making them pay for that.
Yeah, he drew the slide, 2 long pulls, and still manages to sneak it by Kiergaard. And with 6.5 minutes to go, nearly midway through this third quarter, Blaine has scored the only 2 goals of the quarter and tied this game at 5.
Big start to the quarter for Blaine. You talked about a 2-goal lead not being a substantial one in lacrosse. Ty Bunis has proved you right.
And even though Hanashevitz didn't immediately win the draw, and now a hit to the head, a frustration penalty taken by Dane Calloway, is going to have Blaine get their second EMO of the day, unless this is offsetting penalties, but we'll see what the refs announce. Certainly it'll be a cross-check on Callaway. You got to be careful going high with those cross-checks when you're defending.
We haven't had a lot of pauses for officiating. These guys making sure they're getting the call right.
Meanwhile, you can see a couple players down just trying to catch their breath. 2 penalties. This is where mic'd up referees would really help.
You know, when we first started covering lacrosse, that was how it operated. We would mic up the officials, so that way everyone could learn at once, since it was such a new sport in the area.
So Dane Callaway on a knee. I believe he was whistled for 2 infractions. It's a minute penalty, and it's a chance for Blaine to retake the lead. They led 2-1 after 1 quarter of play tonight, and they've scored 2 goals here in the third quarter to tie it at 5. So whatever Josh Swart said, the 14-year head man who's retiring after this season to spend more time with his family, whatever he said seems to have worked. maybe he just said get it in the stick of Ty Bunis.
Well, with his EMO, Blaine could take its first lead since way back in the first quarter.
Yep. Worked around Joe Penner. Wheel route, bounce shot, they score! Great shot, Zach Crone. He curled around from X, caught it on the doorstep and bounced a low shot past Kiergaard. 3 straight goals in the quarter for Blaine, and they regain the lead at 6-5.
And this goal coming just 36 seconds after the last one. Yeah, there was a lot of pausing in between with the penalty, but that penalty paid off for the Blaine Bengals. Now with that advantage, just rolling here in the third quarter. However, just as quickly as it can come, it can be taken away if they don't keep up what they've been doing.
Yeah, certainly no lead in lacrosse is really ever safe. No lead under 5 anyway. But that was just a great, kind of wheel route. Just work the ball around. Good ball movement by the Bengals, and good things happen when you spin the rock. False start on Dane Calloway, which when you're facing a good guy like Hanashevitz, he can make you do that because you got to be quick off the whistle. So now Hanashevitz will try to get a touch. Calloway hounding him. And good timeout taken by the Blaine Bengals and Coach Swart to retain possession. You
talked about how hard it can be to pass that ball away with his face-off stick, and it seems like the Wolfpack are aware of that because they are blanketing any passing options that Hanashevitz would have.
Yeah, and Hanashevitz, he's big enough where you think he could just lower his shoulder and just, get it into the box or whatever, but certainly that stick, when it's got a shallower pocket, it's not necessarily designed to cradle a ton.
Well, and then you also don't want to put it out there for the defender that's on Hanashevitz to try and knock it away, because if it's going to pop out that easy, then any checking that comes could jar it loose.
So Dane Calloway's penalty for a cross-check led to the EMO goal. So Blaine 1 for 2 on the man advantage tonight. And, the momentum swing that can come from a penalty in lacrosse, much the same as can be had in hockey.
Oh, absolutely. We've talked about basketball because I think that's the less obvious, but hockey is one that people just assume lacrosse is exactly like, but that is one of the areas that it certainly relates. Also, the roster. We see a lot more hockey players come out to play lacrosse than we see basketball players.
Yeah, certainly. It was interesting talking to the Duluth head coach, Scott Wishart, before the game, because he said that, it's a natural transition for hockey players in a hockey-mad area like Duluth to come out and play lacrosse. And as you talked about in the beginning, and we've got a penalty flag down.
It's for the stick.
For an illegal stick, and that's a non-releasable penalty. As you saw him clasp his hands above his head. So the illegal stick penalty, and that is on Tyler Smith for Duluth. And that's a good stick check by Blaine, because anytime you've got an attacker, they have an advantage, obviously, with having a deeper pocket. And so it's a good bet that if you challenge that, very often you can get that illegal stick call. And then, of course, the non-releasable penalty. It's a real chance for Blaine, in other words.
And Blaine had their stick checked earlier in the game.
Yep.
I have to imagine that's often a tit-for-tat kind of thing where coaches will challenge.
Yeah, it's just something you do in timeouts and refs check it. And I've actually seen a couple times this year where both teams, when they did the simultaneous stick checks, had illegal sticks. So the Bengals go to work on offense with Tyler Smith on a knee in the box. 5:45 to go in the quarter, and a 6-5 lead for Blaine. Trying to advance to the Section 7 final against Chisago Lakes. Ty Bunis works it, and again, similar kind of play being run on this wheel route. Watch for Crone to sneak around from the backside. Instead, Bunis rips a shot. Good hustle, though. That is, he can get his hands free, but great hustle by Kiergaard, turns it over. Now Kiergaard will lead the clearance. And they'll certainly take their time here as they just want to kill off precious seconds on this Tyler Smith non-releasable. Great catch finds its way into Keenan's stick. Ducks under the defender. Dickinson rakes it to himself in the crease. We've got a whistle and a flag on the far side, offside. That is a dynamic ref. That's so many. That's so many arm actions. Offside, 30-second technical foul on Joe Penner, who is really a senior who's out there, or mostly out there. He's a junior, in fact, and he's mostly out there on man advantage situations, extra man opportunities. Well, he commits a mistake there, and it's in the possession now of Duluth.
You talked about the Wolfpack maybe trying to wind time down, but Blaine gave them an opportunity, and they were kind of caught in between. Do we go for this? They could have passed to a player open in front of the net. Instead, tried to charge it in to take a little more time. Didn't get as good a shot away, I don't think, as they would have.
Now they'll go to work offensively. A lot of space out there with the man-to-man defense being played by Blaine. Hayden Clore, as the 30-second technical foul is released. And once again, Blaine has the man advantage, but only for a few more seconds. 4:22 and counting left in the third. In what has been predictably a very entertaining lacrosse game. Great defense played. And what a bounce back by Franco Canaveri to knock it free. Thought for a second that might have been Penner. And I was all excited about the redemption story after he committed that offside penalty. Instead, it's in the stick of Zach Crone. Crone, who had the go-ahead goal just minutes ago for the Bengals. Plays catch with Bunis. Caleb gives to brother Ty. He's got 4 goals today. Olsen. Pass in and out of the stick of Penner. Good recovery. Well, spoke too soon. Ball's on the ground. Still loose. Duluth comes away with it. This is a good man to have it in his stick. Lars Berg in transition. Berg to Smith. Bounce shot hits the side of the net. Dickinson rakes it to himself, and now he'll lead the break.
His reaction's important. I mean, he could let that hit the side of the net and see what happens after that, but he makes the play by grabbing hold.
Oh, on the doorstep, and a great save by Kiergaard. Somehow kept it out. Olsen was kind of fading away as he caught that goal line extended. It was a sharp angle, and Kiergaard played it well.
You see Ty Bunis had a second opportunity, also tried to just shovel it in. Couldn't get that play to work. And did you see the sellout by the Wolfpack player? Head first dive to try and get closer to that back line.
Yeah, well, possession so critical at these moments. A little jump pass across. Kiergaard saves it, and yeah, tried to just whack it towards the net. Instead, it's still in the stick of Olsen, and he scores! Sam Olsen, big number 29 with goal number 28. 4 unanswered here in the third quarter for Blaine, and they've got a 2-goal lead.
Been consistent. 4 goals here in this period.
He drew the slide. Duluth got a little mixed up defensively, and that was all the room that Olsen needed to rip the back of the net.
So the 4 goals here matches the 4 goals that Duluth put up in the second period. So both teams have had that kind of run. And that's part of the reason we've stayed so close throughout the course of this evening's game.
What a confidence boost it could be for Blaine if they shut out Duluth in this period and score, 4 or 5 goals. Good draw win by Callaway. Now it's Duluth's turn to take a timeout and talk about things. 2:37 to go in the third quarter. But John, Blaine has looked extremely impressive here in the third.
I agree. They haven't been falling over like they did early on when they were slipping on the ground. Their passes have been crisper here in the third quarter. Dickinson hasn't seen as many shots as it felt like Hitchcock did, but he stopped everything that has come his way. So the goalie change at halftime to go with a freshman hasn't impacted Blaine's ability to shut down Duluth. Maybe it's improved it. It's hard to say that because the senior has been good, but outstanding work by the freshman.
And what Dickinson's done that's been impressive as well, John, is he's helped lead the break quickly. He's quickly restarted things for the Bengals, and he's been a steady hand back there in the crease, and those transition opportunities have led to goals. So Blaine talking about things, and I think this is maybe the point in the game, John, where we start to see the effects of the heat and humidity out there. The sun has all but disappeared as the lights start to take effect here at Panther Stadium, but ultimately this is, at this point of the game, if you haven't been hydrating and taking care of yourself, this is where we start to see cramps set in and whatnot. And it's going to be an endurance test here in the fourth quarter.
I mean, that's your job before you show up, because it's not like drinking along the way here is going to make the difference, because you were going to do that. But you need to be hydrating throughout the day to be ready for this. You should have that gallon jug carrying it around ready to go if you're going to play in this kind of heat. And it seems like so far we haven't had guys coming off with cramps or injuries that we could tell. So outstanding efforts. I also wonder if some of the coaching decisions outside of the rotation come because of it, right? Is there less running involved in the zone defense that Blaine has played the majority of this game than there would be if they were following in a man situation?
Yeah, I mean, certainly the nice thing about the zone is you don't have a guy that gets hung up at X by a quick attackman who's kind of going back and forth and zigging and zagging. So obviously there's some, but you have to be, communicative and really on a string as Duluth starts things. 2.5 minutes left in the third. You have been outscored in this third quarter 4-0. Rylan Dickinson has not been tested much, and he hasn't given up a goal. Now on the stick of Tyler Smith, who enjoyed playing from this right wing, or from this left wing rather, in the first half. Bounce shot, and he scores. As soon as I say it, Colby Larson gets goal number 23 of the season on a little curl and then a bounce shot to claw one back and pull Duluth within one.
A big part of this is Blaine trying to sell out on the steal, trying to intercept the pass, and then the defender's completely behind after that, leaving an open look, even if there was a stick in his face. Still was able to get the good shot away.
Yeah, sometimes just using a defender's momentum against him and just allowing him to fly by as you duck inside can be effective. And Colby Larson has had himself a nice game. He's finally on the score sheet for the Wolfpack. And I think it's all important that they get a goal in the third quarter, if not tie this game. Anashevitz battling for it. Conrad scoops it up, but we've got a push. So it belongs to the Wolfpack. Dane Calloway's been fighting with Hanashevitz all game long. Out of the reach of Calloway, right into Canavari's stick. He goes cross field. I think that was a bit of a panic play. And it's out of bounds and back to the maroon and gray. Stops the clock with 1:46 left in the third. 7-6 our score. Blaine trailed 5-3 at half. And they have owned this third period, only conceding the first goal just seconds ago. Good find by Kiergaard. Duluth gets a touch, and now they'll set up on the offensive end. Slattery. Watched by the short stick Conrad. Now we've got offside, and it turns it back over to Blaine. Those are the kind of mental errors that drive coaches nuts, John.
Especially in a big game like this where you've had the whole season, right? You hope that you've worked through those throughout the course of the year.
Canavari passes aside, and they score! Canavari to Crone. His low bounce shot gives Blaine another 2-goal advantage. Canavari didn't look like he wanted to shoot, but he knew where to find the goal scorer. And a great feed to Crone, his second of the quarter. After having a quiet first half, Crone has had 2 in this quarter. He beats Kiergaard low.
Well, we talked about it jokingly about the Bunis brothers doing all of the scoring here today, but the difference has come when the rest of the team picked up the scoring pace here in this third quarter. And to see 2 from Crone, outstanding work from him.
2 from Crone, 1 from Olsen, so the attack really getting involved for Blaine. Janashevitz wins the draw, and the Bengals get a touch. Now they'll play it through the box. Caden Bunis. Oh, good move by Crone. It's loose in front. Scooped up by Crone. Another bounce shot. Kiergaard makes the stop. Big stop it was as Crone nearly went tumbling into the crease. Just 36 seconds left in the third. Blaine hoping to head to the fourth quarter with at least a 2-goal advantage.
Good defense here by Blaine, making it difficult to get the ball upfield.
And they force a turnover at midfield. Noah Bethel momentarily intercepting it. Now transition for Duluth. Those loose balls, all important, especially as it gets late. Bethel trying to fight off the hard check. Got to get a touch as time expires here in the fourth quarter, here in the third quarter, I should say. We head to the fourth quarter. Blaine dominates the third. They score 5 goals, and they take a 2-goal lead to the fourth quarter here on North Metro TV. Start of the fourth quarter here at Spring Lake Park High School, Panthers Stadium. Bill Hupp alongside color analyst John Haddon, and some third quarter highlights. Ty Bunis continuing his scoring run. He got 2 more in the third. Great pass fake here, and then the bounce shot for his 4th of the game. But then, John, it's like you talked about, a couple more attackmen get involved. Sam Olsen ripping the back of the net. Duluth would respond with 1 goal in the quarter by Colby Larson, but then Zach Crone, the bounce shot to give the Blaine Bengals a 2-goal lead. Spot in the Section 7 finals on the line.
2-goal lead is not a big lead, but it's a big lead. It's 2 goals. It's not a big differential on the scoreboard in lacrosse, but it's got to be a great feeling to the Blaine Bengals to have that going into this final frame, coming off a really strong third quarter. So momentum is still with them. They scored the final goal of the quarter, even though they gave up a late one to the Wolfpack. Blaine has every reason to be feeling pretty good as they head into this final frame. But somehow,
it's a
Dickinson's back in the sunlight as we switch ends. He continues to just have to fight that.
Ryland Dickinson, the freshman goalie. These face-offs becoming ever more important. 2-goal lead, as we said, not much in lacrosse, can quickly be erased. Blaine wins the opening face-off of the fourth quarter. The Bengals go to work in the offensive end with a 2-goal lead and a spot in the Section 7 final on the line. Crone gets a step. Good check from behind to knock it free by Finn Yates. Kiergaard finds Lars Berg. Short stick Mitty, who's got a goal tonight. Manages to get past Olsen, and he'll get a touch for Duluth as the Wolfpack set up offensively. Larson, watched by Felty. Tyler Smith, who had a good first half, but quiet in the third quarter. Slattery, Smith. Up top for Clore. Smith being watched by Dominic Romo. Goes for the high shot, and that fizzes over. 10:47 to go, 8-6. Blaine still enjoying a 2-goal lead.
Doesn't seem like we've seen dramatic change from the approach for either of these teams throughout the course of this game. They've stuck to the game plan they came in with.
Blaine now playing man-to-man. They've gotten out of that zone, so switching defensive looks as Larson shoots a low shot that goes wide. And good hustle by Ryland Dickinson, the goaltender for Blaine, to earn possession back for the Bengals. Long outlet pass finds its way to the stick of Chase Van Gilder. First time we've called his name today. Ty Bunis spinning away from pressure. A lot of pass fakes for the future Belmont Abbey attackman. But he will just patiently wait things out as they switch midfield lines. Bengals can afford to be patient with a 2-goal lead and under 10 minutes left in the game.
I was just about to say, you're probably going to see a lot of patience from the Bengals as long as the lead doesn't get trimmed down to 1.
And while we're not certain, it wouldn't be a surprise to see the final be played right back here at Spring Lake Park High School should Blaine reach it. They would be the host, given that the 4th seed
Chisago Lakes?
Yeah, easy for me to say.
Well, either of these teams, whoever wins gets to be the host because they're the 4 seed.
Yes, no question about it.
And for Blaine and these hockey players, they're used to that, right? They share the same hockey rink with Spring Lake Park as well.
Yep, good point. Fat out front. Ball's loose. Fogarty Arena, the home for both Spring Lake Park and Blaine. Both teams selling out here in the 4th quarter of this section semifinal. Duluth ends up cheaping it downfield to their attack. Colby Larson scoops it up. Good feed on the unsettled situation for Keenan. In front for Smith. Loose on the deck, and Dickinson scoops it up, but it'll turn back over to Duluth.
That actually turned into a really good play for the Wolfpack, and that was just because it was so out of sorts. It threw the defense out of sorts as well, and Duluth was able to take it right to the front. They had a chance for a good shot. Defense shut them down.
Yeah, the unsettled situations can be advantageous if you're good at transitioning from defense to offense quickly. And it can mask not having a great almost half-court offense, to use a basketball term.
I always want to say half-court. All right, I'm not the only one.
Yeah, some teams are less settled in the box. And so if you can take advantage of those transition kind of run-and-gun opportunities, that can be to your advantage.
Wow.
Good check by Felty.
Yeah, what a push from Felty.
A hold is called, so it stays in the possession of the Wolfpack. Time ticking away, though. 8:14 left to go in the game. An 8-6 Blaine lead. A spot against Chisago Lakes on the line. Tyler Smith attacks Romo, goal line extended. Spins over his right shoulder. Jump shot. Good save by Dickinson. It's loose on the deck. Good job by Felty, who leaves it for Dickinson. Long looping outlet pass.
Yeah, the space to work with, though. Good pass up ahead to Canaveri.
Canaveri gets a touch. Now he'll back it out again. Blaine can afford to be patient with a 2-goal lead. Get it in the stick of Olsen. Duluth pressing out man-to-man. Olsen watched by lanky defender Eli Zahn. Eventually, the refs will tell Blaine to keep it in the box. Zahn draws the slide, gets a shot away, and good hustle by Zahn, or by Finn Yates, I should say, to be closest to it. So Yates earns possession back for Duluth. 7:06 and counting left.
Yates and Felty are the two defenders we keep hearing their name called because of their efforts. Yates for Duluth and Felty for Blaine.
Romo doing an excellent job on Smith to keep him in check here in the second half. Bradbury gets it to Berg. Berg, bounce shot, that goes wide. A couple people went with the other slide, and so Berg found himself open to shoot.
Yeah, I mean, there were defenders in front of him. Had to kind of thread the needle, and that's probably why the shot was offline. He was worried about hitting those defenders.
Bradbury, it's a cutter, bounce shot, and they score! Bradbury finds Kennan for his hat trick. Third goal of the game, cuts the lead to 8-7. Kennan just again showing from X, making himself available and getting the shot away. Good catch initially by Bradbury, and then you just see Kennan with a step, and that was all it took. His low bounce shot beats Dickinson. He has a hat trick, and Duluth is within one.
Real fluid motion there. Catches it and shoots all at once. Beautiful play on that comeback.
Every faceoff now getting more and more critical. 6:20 left to play in the game. Blaine wins possession. So now the Bengals will go to work. Bethel spins off of a hard check. He gets it in the box. Duluth getting increasingly physical with their defense. Caden Bunis twirling the ball in that blue stick of his. Watched out there by the short stick, Dane Calloway.
Great game between these two. It's just so evenly matched. We've seen it throughout. No one's able to pull away. And here we are, tied at 8 in the late stages.
These two teams had great battles in 2018, 2019, splitting their matchups here in the Section 7 semifinals. So no surprise that this game would be a close one as well. Crone backing down Yates, gets a shot off and scores!
Talk about hat tricks. They're coming for everybody.
Zach Crone, goal number 23 on the season. The hat trick tonight for the senior attackman, and Blaine regains a 2-goal lead.
5:15 remaining.
You see here, John, just backing down Yates, spins away from him, and the slide comes too late. Great patient offensive lacrosse by Crone, and a huge goal for the Bengals. 9-7 now our score with 5:15 remaining fourth quarter. Again, the winner here to take on number 4 Chisago Lakes on Wednesday. Anashevitz wins the draw in possession for Blaine, but then he throws it away. Bengals trying to get sorted defensively, protecting a 2-goal lead. Tyler Smith, watched by Dominic Romo, spins back over his right shoulder. Good save made by Dickinson. Rylan Dickinson, the freshman, 3 saves here in the second half. Turnover. Ball loose on the deck. Parent comes away with it, and then his pass is immediately intercepted by Berg in front. Oh, big hit by Dickinson as he comes out of the crease. What a play by Rylan Dickinson. The checks are flying fast and furious, and finally we've got a whistle and a stoppage in play. Berg furious. But John, watch this highlight.
I mean, it was an incredible scrum in real time.
And it would have been a glorious chance for Keenan had Dickinson not come out and laid the lumber to him.
Great challenge. I mean, goaltender laying it on the line here.
Dickinson, what bravery from a freshman to come out, and he would have been dead to rights had Keenan caught that cleanly on the doorstep. Berg fouled Dickinson from behind, so it's Blaine ball. 4:21 left to go. A 2-goal Bengals lead. Trying to reach their second consecutive Section 7 final. And again, more loose footing. Good recovery by Canavari. Gets it in the stick of Bethel. Now Well, Blaine just looking to work some clock with 5:50 and counting left to go. And again, more slippage on that turf. Olsen gets in front. Big save made by Kiergaard. Bengals closest to it, so it'll stay down on this end. Yates out there putting pressure. Crone gets by him. And finally, the whistle stops play. A hold is called after Crone got tripped up from behind by Yates.
Bengals as much time as they can use up on this end.
Crone, left-hand cradle. His shot deflected and goes wide. Stays with the blue and white.
And he takes a shot, so that might seem counterintuitive, but he knew where his teammates were when he took that shot. He had two different guys that had position, so when he missed, they were able to collect it. Still Blaine ball. They're still using clock.
Crone with a hat trick. Ty Bunis with 4 goals. Now would be a good time, I would think, to get the ball to Ty Bunis. Instead, it's in the possession of Devin Nitty. Nitty spinning away from pressure. On the doorstep, Bunis missed the net.
But again, they've got a man there, so great positioning by Blaine to make sure that they maintain possession.
Haven't said that many times tonight. Bethel watched by Yates, gets a touch, and loses it out of bounds. Maybe a bit of nerves. Now an opportunity for the Wolfpack, trailing by 2 goals with 2:33 left. Kiergaard looking for an outlet. Big check delivered, and coming away with it is Anders Gilbertson.
Big play. I mean, gets the ball right back into Blaine's hands if they can hold it.
They can't, though. It goes off of Romo's stick, out of bounds on the far side. Duluth quickly re-enters it. In the stick of Tyler Smith, he shoulder charges through a few defenders, tripped up, flag goes down. Duluth looking to score, but intercepted by Blaine, so that draws the whistle and the stoppage of play. And a hold is called.
Yeah, a hold, huh? A man was knocked down, and I felt like it was pretty even shoulder to shoulder because you talked about Smith lowering his shoulder along the way, and it felt like he got it back. I don't know if that was an intentional trip.
Well, Romo's feet certainly got tangled with Smith as he went by. So the 30-second penalty, Romo will take a knee in the box. 1:57 to go, fourth quarter. Critical for Duluth to get the next one. And quickly. Larson feeding in front for Smith. It goes all the way back. Wolfpack hang on to it, and we've got a turnover. Bengals try to quickly restart it. Heads up play by the long stick Nitty, and the Bengals get a touch. Bengals also take a timeout. Here is Josh Schwartz. Sees possession and decides to take a timeout. Romo's still on his knee in the box, but only a few seconds left on his 30-second penalty. And 1:39 away from their second consecutive Section 7 final.
Things have
fast
really,
and frenetic, huh, John?
Yeah, well, things have really rolled Blaine's way. I mean, they had that sluggish second quarter, and things looked troubled there, but here in the second half, they've barely allowed anything to get in the net, so outstanding defensive work, and the offense has picked up as well. So Blaine has been not necessarily a different team, but they've played better lacrosse here in the second half.
Yeah, no question. And really, it was that third quarter, John, that really changed things. 5 goals for the Bengals in that third quarter, including the first 4, to turn the tide and take what was a 5-3 deficit, make it a 7-5 lead. And really, they've just kind of maintained that goal or 2 advantage ever since.
Yeah, exactly. You said maintained. They haven't blown the doors off by any means because this Duluth team is a good squad, but the Wolfpack have not been able to get over the hump late and equalize.
So here we go. Bengals have possession of the ball and a 2-goal lead. Now it's a matter of keep away. Refs will make them keep it in the box at some point. Certainly if you have backup and you have a good opportunity to increase your lead, you take it, but you certainly don't have to with this little time remaining.
Well, and Blaine did a good job of that on their last real possession, the last sustained possession. This one not sustained long at all.
Finn Yates forces the turnover as Duluth doubles the ball right out of the timeout. Now the Wolfpack looking to transition. Haven't seen too many transition goals yet today. Keenan bounce shot, that goes wide. Good hustle by Dickinson. Gets the ball back for Blaine.
Yeah, Berg had that nice transition score way back when, early in the second quarter, but you're right. Other than that, they have set up in the quote-unquote half court.
Romo gets it to Nitty, who goes down and takes a flag with him. Couple flags. There's a flag on the crease as well.
He got the ball back along the way, so he did a full front somersault in the air, and rolling up and grabbing the ball. Pretty slick.
That turnover brings the whistle. So Blaine will now have an EMO for the last minute of the game. 54 seconds left to play. So certainly the Bengals looking in good shape to increase their record to 12-3 on the season and book a return trip to the Section 7 final. Bunis goes crossfield to Crone. They won't even try to score now. They'll just back it out. Nitty. Watched by Eli Zahn. And the turnover forced as Zahn forced Nitty out. 33 seconds and counting. Long outlet pass in and out of the stick of Berg. Good stick in the passing lane by Felty. He's been everywhere tonight.
Just trying to roll it back to the goaltender at that point. Anything to get it to Dickinson.
Dickinson looking up for Ty Bunis. Gets a shove in the back. But Duluth running out of time. The horn sounds here at Panther Stadium. Blaine mobs its goaltender, Ryland Dickinson. The Bengals score 5 in the third to erase a halftime deficit. They are going to the Section 7 finals against Chisago Lakes on Wednesday here at home. John, your thoughts on this exciting semifinal? We thought it would be a close game, and sure enough, that's exactly what we got.
It was, and again, we talked about the third quarter being the difference maker. They put the brakes on any offense that Duluth was producing and got their own finally churning the way that they would have liked, and then it was going to maintain mode throughout the fourth. Outstanding work by the Bengals to get the win here tonight.
And they prolonged the career of head coach Josh Swart. One more game at least, as Blaine has, after losing in 2018 to Duluth, they have beaten the Wolfpack now in 2 consecutive section semifinals. As you see the Section 7 boys lacrosse bracket, Chisago Lakes pulling the upset in overtime over favorite Centennial. And that's who the Bengals will play here at Spring Lake Park High School on Wednesday. And we'll have that one here on North Metro TV. Blaine will meet Chisago Lakes for the right to go to the 2021 state tournament. So, for Director Jeremy Millington, I'd like to thank our entire crew at North Metro TV and my broadcast partner, John Haddon. I'm Bill Hupp saying good night. Blaine scores 5 in the third quarter to come back and down Duluth here in the Section 7 semifinal. They move on to the final against Chisago Lakes. You've been watching Boys High School Lacrosse on North Metro TV.